The irony of a living creature that can turn everything into gold, but can't turn his heart into one because a demon with a heart of gold is oxymoronic. A demon can't all of a sudden identify as a human. That is what Macht of the Golden Land, the strongest of the 7 demon stages of destruction, is trying to accomplish in a new path in life, to coexist with humans by developing the same emotions that humans possess. Hey you two, yeet each other, and whoever survives, I'll let the other live. You know what? I don't feel anything. Let's try this again. Spoiler warning for people that haven't read the Golden Land arc just yet, but what the hell are you doing? But before we continue, it's another day, week, month. Oh my god, are we really gonna get to a year? In the Frieren Manga hiatus, Yamada Kanehito and Abe Tsukasa are coexisting without us. They can't decide what to do with the great mage Serie, the feet goddess. Whether she lives or dies, all depends on you. And that means she will... Macht of the Golden Land, the demon most feared and menacing of the 7 demon sages that the great hero of the South could not survive against, is on a rather frightening path to coexist with humans. He's rather peaceful for a demon, who doesn't actually like fighting or even following orders of the Demon King, unless by force, as that is the demon way to work as a group. He is a voice of reason, not too harsh, but not too soft-spoken. Every order to massacre an entire village of humans in the Northern Plateau by the Demon King became just another ordinary mundane day. People begging for their lives in a sea of fire. People yelling out in agony to save their loved ones and little ones. It wasn't until he came across this priest who pitied him that eventually excited this new path in his life. This new path? It is the unrelenting pipe dream of coexistence with humans. That's right, humanity and demons alike living in harmony, that he shares the same wish for with none other than the Demon King. The problem is, he's a goddamn monster.
I think I learned something today, guys.
I'm gonna make friends with a human and then yeet him. The priest's words about malice and guilt became the crux of Macht's new aim to achieve such human emotions. It is something he is willing to repeat over and over again until those emotions manifest out of him. Clearly, us fellow humans see the irony of such a never-ending cycle. After destroying multiple villages and that last experiment of the 2 childhood friends attempting to yeet each other for their own survival, Macht made a breakthrough with malice and guilt. He witnessed something and understood something that he didn't quite understand before. He understood now to repeat that same situation, and maybe he himself can feel that emotion that that kid that yeeted his childhood friend and potential future girlfriend. He has to be friends with a human and then betray him. Only then he can develop these human emotions. That is what the entire Golden Land arc plot is all about, that led to the setting of it being in the fortress city of Weiss, that ultimately all turned to gold by the hands of Macht, who betrayed that close human friend in Gluck, who was the figurehead of the entire city. That man Gluck is someone he befriended to serve to live the life of seeing all of the malice and guilt in the world, as Gluck was someone that hoped to take the corruption out of the fortress city of Weiss while being very corrupt himself. So this is a perfect opportunity for Macht to experience everything malice and guilt worthy, which makes sense for him to ultimately just betray him. At least in Macht's eyes, that was a good idea, a good hypothesis for a demon. Like Gluck mentioned before, these human emotions are a hindrance rather than a help for individualistic survival. It is what makes humans human, yet it is a flaw that can easily be exploited, like that one hero's party situation where even Himmel the Hero had to concede that that demon child had had to take an L. Mother, what a magical word. In the very end, when Macht turned the entire fortress city of Weiss into gold, one can interpret that Gluck may have hope that maybe Macht actually achieved his goals of developing those feelings. Yet again, we were all disappointed. And as we know about the stone bracelet of servitude that was placed on Macht to be bound by the command of serving the people of the fortress city of Weiss and all their descendants. You must never commit malicious acts towards us, the people of Weiss. The moment you bear the slightest ill will towards us, you shall end your own life. That bracelet by the great Avik the Sage sealed Macht's fate, but not in the traditional way we would think, but one that sealed the deal with demons that they could never develop human emotions. This is something that demonkin can never understand and wrap their brains around because, as Solitar stated, convergent evolution evolved them to be similar in appearance to humans, but ultimately something completely different to humans as deceiving man-eating predators. Both humans and demons are of similar high intelligence, except when it comes to magic. When a human ceases to exist, their human remains stay behind. When a demon passes away, they deteriorate and dissolve into mana dust. It is a quality that Kanehito likely chose to show that demons are innately what they are, and their abilities are unique only to their understanding. It is shown that greater demons are the best example of this, that possess magic exclusive to their beings, and something that humans could almost never understand, although someone like Frieren figured out how to undo Dia Golds. She herself cannot do Dia Golds. It's something that Solitar also stated in how humans deal with problems they don't completely understand. However, there is a crossover-like situation with Solitar's Talk to the Hand. Mana Discharge Attack. As there is a fundamental level of understanding of magic that both humans and demons possess. This is where Kanehito also likes to blur the lines between impossibility to being possible with using the Elder Sage of Corruption Zoltrak as being a foundation of modern day human magic, especially for war. Something that will eventually be explored in the Southern Lands, as Zoltrak is one of the most used magic spells. Obviously, magic is shared between races and even abilities. However, there is a uniqueness in some magical skills that is inherently demon. So being able to break down Zoltrak is quite a rare phenomenon. There is nothing more blatant than Kanehito's intentions for this arc than making us decipher between if the impossible can actually be possible with the flashback between the hero's party being stuck inside Bowls the Immortal's barrier. It is something that will carry onto future arcs and something that many readers ponder about in the Foundation Festival arc. And check out all my videos about the Foundation Festival arc. It's that very situation of Macht's attempt in trying to evolve into this demon that has human emotions. That is the problem in many more ways than one. To Macht, and especially Solitar, this is merely a science experiment that can be repeated until they get the results they want. At least, that is what Macht is thinking. A human casualty is something that the ordinary human could never fathom. It's a flawed, circular experiment because it's not an experiment that can never make you develop human emotions. Or if it does, humanity might already be extinct by then. From a human perspective, it could just make you desensitized to these betrayals and deaths. Ultimately, a human that understands malice and guilt would never begin the experiment in the first place. So repeating a flawed hypothesis and experiment will lead us to be the Slayer, the Demon Slayer Frieren. We are stopping you right here, right now, because this is your retribution, because you are a villain that doesn't realize he is actually one. Like the Demon King that wiped off humanity to only a third of its population at its peak to try to develop these humanistic feelings, emotions, and sensibilities to coexist. They have to face what evolution has actually developed them to become. Demons seeing that yeeting and eating humans as bad is just a mere pipe dream. Like vegans that see the intelligence of a pork and cow getting sent to the slaughterhouse. Someone like Macht wants to experience just that, going into a slaughterhouse to see if he might develop these feelings that feels bad for something that his body sees as a potential meal. The very idea of him trying to feel affectionate towards humans is a perspective only a predator can have of a potential prey. Other times, like when Macht massacred an entire village and made two kids yeet each other for the other to live, was when he mass yeeted people thinking it was for the greater good as they approach the Golden Land, to prevent others from entering the Golden Land, like when the first class mage Tao and a handful of second class mages scouted the Golden Land for learning. All of them ended up dead, except for second class mage Frieren to serve as a warning to others to not come. Again, if the intention was to actually understand and save human lives, this action is something an actual human would never actually do, which ends up summing up the entire irony of his predicament. Frieren already saw what Macht is from miles away as he turned all these humans into golden kebabs. In most cases, like Woodcraft the monk that saved the bandits from being obliterated in self-defense from Ubel, it did not occur to Macht that the value of these people's lives actually mattered, only for the perceived goal of coexistence and remaining confined until he escapes, to just redo the whole Gluck situation all over again, until hopefully evolution forces a demon's nature to become more human-like, with those concepts of malice, empathy, betrayal. The nature of Macht's gold is a paradox, a contradiction, and the irony for what his existence is that reflects his character dilemma down to Solitar's explanation that greater demons are born with innate expertise in their specific magic because it is their biological nature. So Macht's Dia Golds serves as that contradiction because he turns matter into gold. It is analyzed with magic that says it's gold, but in actuality, it is not gold. Referenced by Lernen here in Edel in chapter 84, where he says you can't change its form no matter how much heat or force you apply to it. Macht describes himself as a pacifist that wants coexistence. It's that paradoxical nature about him that makes it so contradictory, as we've seen through his entire existence in the Golden Land arc. He has raised, burned, turned many golden skewer statues, all to just feel something like a human would. On a fundamental level, Macht's character is action speaks louder than words, and just because you attempt to do good doesn't deny the fact that you are doing heinous acts. The attempt for coexistence doesn't matter when in reality there is a missing fundamental understanding that the endless human bodies he laid waste to, that journey to try to feel something by adding more bodies on top, is one too many lives that humanity understands too well the horror of such acts, as a predator would never grasp the wrong in those actions before it's too late. Like Solitar's conclusion, and one where both Gluck and Denken can acknowledge that it was indeed a pipe dream for an irredeemable villain that stayed just that until the very end. Macht's character is one that has many layers to him and that deserves multiple videos, but I would love to know what your biggest takeaways were about Macht of the Golden Land, one of the 7 demon sages of destruction. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.